Good evening, popular astronomers. It is time to pop your Astro. It's Pop Astro Live on Tuesday, the 9th of November, 2021. Good evening to you if you are watching this in the future or in the past from now. Okay, we are going to play the magic countdown music, which means you, no matter what format you are watching this on, or wherever in the world or what time zone you are in, you need to hit the share button right now. Please, please, please help spread the word of the society. We will love you forever and an infinity plus one. Hello, you lovely lot. Hello, John Wright. I think that might be a stargazing emoji, but it is about 4 pixels by 4 on my screen. Hello, Vicky and all. Hello, Mr. Roberts and Adrian. Thank you for supporting us every week. I hope you've hit the share button, Adrian. Good evening, Vicky and everyone. Always look forward to a Tuesday. So do I. It's the highlight of my week. It's the highlight of the starlight of my week. Good evening, Mr. DD. Good evening, Vicky and everyone. Okay, plug the mug, plug the mug, plug the mug, plug the mug. Stirry, stirry night. This is a beautiful mug, which is available from the Pop Astro shop. And it would be, let me change my banner here. I've been busy writing some new, look, Christmas is coming. And you've got, oh my God, like 6 or 7 weeks to not mess up the Christmas presents. Come on, face it. You mess up every year and there's disappointment under the tree. Well, mess up no more, because you can treat the astronomer or avid stargazer in your life to a bit of SPA merchandise. Just imagine drinking a nice big mug of gravy out of this on Christmas Day. Is just going to be so festive. And of course, other mugs are available, as are necklaces, apparel, and all sorts of goodies, models, and little trinkets that will show the astronomer in your life that you really, really care. 6 comments. What have we done to deserve so many comments? Good evening, Vicky. Thank you, Jed. Actually, I should be reading out the name. I think maybe I'm going to try a different way of reading these. Good evening, Kathleen. I have just eaten a lot of honey, and I think it's affecting my motor control to soothe my throat. Good evening, Catherine. Good evening, Madeline and Lily with the busy face. Yes, good evening, popular astronomers. That is us. And hopefully we'll have some new faces. Well, hey, it's Samantha Seal. It's Vicky and Pop Astro time. Lovely, lovely. Thank you, everybody. Okay. In the sky this month, dwarf planet Ceres is bright enough to be easily seen with binoculars in November as it crosses the familiar star cluster of the Hyades. At the start of the month, it lies close to Aldebaran. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm a bit out of practice, having not actually seen any real astronomers other than 1 or 2 for the past couple of years. Hello, Michael Saltzman. If you want to know more about the night sky, check out the Pop Astro website, because we have got the November night sky guide there for your delectation. A Tuesday highlight. Very good. Good evening, everyone, from an awful Greater Manchester. The weather, he means, of course. Which suburb are you in there? I've lived in Chorlton, I've lived in Hume, and I have lived in... Where else have I lived? In Manchester? Urmston, that was one. Hi, Ken. Lovely. You would like a Cosmo mug. So would I. Who wouldn't? We'd all like a... Please, can we arrange for some clear skies, please, Vicky? I know it'd be lovely. We're missing so much wonderful stuff in the skies at the minute, and November is just like a dirty dishcloth wringing itself out over us. I'm sorry about that. Even if the stars aren't clear, my eyes are beautifully so. and the repartee. Is that the right word? Witty repartee. Yes, very good. Okay, so roll out a red carpet so long it gets hoovered up by the nearest black hole. This week, we have got Ian Morrison, who is, to me anyway, and I'm sure to many others, astronomical royalty. He's worked at Jodrell Bank, where he's still an honorary professor. He helped design and build the eMERLIN array of radio telescopes, which I just adore. He's worked on SETI, and he's still a keen amateur astronomer with knocking on for 300 telescopes. So he told me. Don't tell his wife that, though. Some of the wide-ranging topics we might be discussing tonight, if we get time. You know, this can all change, you know. Let me just do this. There we go. Life at Jodrell Bank. What's the best way to observe and to take pics? How big is the Milky Way? Or is it just fun size? How we can start basic imaging, star trails and constellations. What are the best theories on dark matter? And we're also going to be chatting a little bit about the eMERLIN network. And I might have written you a song. You never know, popular astronomers. I am wearing way too many layers here. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my pants off because I'm wearing 3 pairs. And I think you're really going to like what's underneath the big woolly pair. The first ever astronomy striptease. Look, 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 look. I've got, yay, my space leggings on. So let's remove the big guns. I am really overheating here. Living in a holiday lodge. Look at that. Come on, show a bit of space leg, Vicky. There we go. I am so cosmic right now. I am so cosmic. Cosmic top, cosmic leggings. Fun size Milky Way. It's Bob Jessamine. Hi, Helen. Lovely to hear from you. Staley Bridge, Staley, Vegas. And it's Bob. Hi, Bob. Okay, so we're going to go over to Ian now. Stick around. Cosmo will be along. And rumour has it that Sunshine Sonia Turkington will be joining us as well. We can't wait to welcome Sonia back with the observing forecast. Okay, Ian is coming in. 3, 2, 1. I can tell I've just eaten a lot of honey. It said I think I got the recipe for. I'm not a good cook, and even putting honey in water proved a bit difficult because I was putting it in and I thought, I can't be bothered to check how many it said on the internet, and I've put 3 spoons of honey in, and in hindsight, that's a lot of honey. That's a hell of striptease. Yeah, Cosmo will be doing the full Monty later. Hi, Ian.
Hello, Vicky, and hello, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. Hoping for some clear skies like the rest of you, I think.
Oh, that's lovely, Ian. It's so lovely of you to join us. I think you just might need to turn your computer down a little bit, please.
Oh, the sound.
Please.
I'll try and do that. 1 minute. Is it reverb coming back again?
It just is.
Oh, is it my voice that's too loud?
I think it's me feeding back.
Okay, hold tight. This I may be able to do. I'm hoping
just your little laptop speakers.
Help. Speakers. If I bring those down, hold tight. If I can do it.
Yeah, I think that might be better. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that sounds.
Okay.
Good to see you, Ian. So give us a little intro as to who you are and what you do.
Oh dear. Well, let's begin. I managed to become a postgraduate student at Jodrell Bank in 1965. I was given a very complicated PhD project to study the moon by radar. It was actually quite hard getting there every day to do it, but it did actually work. And I think as a result of that, they gave me a lectureship, which was very nice. But that was a very technical project. And although I'd done physics, mathematics, and a bit of astronomy at university, I'd actually taught myself to be a reasonably competent electronic engineer. So quite a lot of my life at Jodrell was spent helping design and build equipment that we use, such as the receivers to observe pulsars. And I think the most important or useful thing I did while I was there was, as Vicky may have mentioned, I was one of the designers and builders of the MERLIN array, now called eMERLIN. And just very quickly about that, if you imagined a line of telescopes with the central one at the North Pole and you look down on it, in the course of 12 hours, you'd actually see them rotate round and fill out really the area of a telescope of that diameter. And that's called aperture synthesis. And we can do that. We don't need to have lots and lots of telescopes. In fact, we started off with just 2. And rather nicely, in 1976, I think it was, with my student and a friend of mine, we discovered the location of the nearest black hole to the Earth, as it was,
Wow, Ian.
3,500 light years away. But in fact, they found a nearer one last year. Anyway, we went on beyond that. We built some more telescopes in the Cheshire Plain and beyond. And there's one down near Deptford, near Evesham. And that became our Merlin array. And I built all the computer systems to make that run, which was quite fun. Then I was the project engineer really for the upgrade in the 1990s, early 90s, when we added a big telescope at Cambridge. And then since the new millennium, we've actually upgraded the links between the telescopes with fiber optics. We can bring 30 gigabits of data back from each telescope. And that's made it one of the world's most sensitive and also one of the largest linked arrays in the world. So it's still a very useful instrument. And the great thing was we were able to image objects in the radio with exactly the same resolution as the Hubble Space Telescope. So that proved to be very useful. So I'm very pleased to have done that.
So as it happened, actually, Ian, I have, and I don't know whether you know that I occasionally write little pieces of music for certain subjects.
You do.
And I had a flash of inspiration to write rather a bizarre sounding song about eMERLIN. So I'm going to play it now because we were going to talk about it later. But while we're talking about eMERLIN, we might as well talk about play the music.
Here we go.
I played it to my housemate and he just paused at the end of it and went, "That's very futuristic." So hold on to your hats and your scarves and everything in between. So basically, this is a song about eMERLIN. Let me go down to this is one of my more bizarre pieces of music, and that is saying something. Are you ready, Ian?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my God, I'm anxious now. I listened back to it before and I was like, it's far out. That's the word we're going to use. It's experimental and far out. And hopefully I got all the facts right on it. So here it comes.
Coming Earth, do you read us? Coming Earth, do you read us?
What do you see in the cosmos with your eMERLIN? A sensitive soul constructed to plug black holes, Merlin. You span across the nation, studying star formation.
eMERLIN provides a unique capability for microjansky sensitivity radio imaging, spectroscopy, polarization, and astrometry in exquisite resolution.
Resolution should provide solutions to questions that just get bigger. And to increase the power of your listening eye, you join forces with others via VLDI. eMERLIN, you are wizards.
Do you read us? Coming Earth, do you read us?
Star Factory Productions, put the showbiz in your space biz.
Very good. I love the graphics as well.
Thank you, Ian. It was a bit unusual. I tried to get a lot of concepts in there, including VLBI. What's VLBI, please, Ian?
Well, it stands for Very Long Baseline Interferometry, but all you need to know is that we combine our Merlin telescopes with telescopes all over Europe, up in Finland, down in Spain, to in Germany, in Italy, and so on. And this makes a telescope which is about 10 times bigger. So we have 10 times the resolution. We can observe a supernova expanding in a galaxy 12 million light years away. So that again is one of the world's top instruments, and we're proud to be a part of it at Jodrell. And of course, our Hubble telescope is a major contributor because it's so big, which is great.
So let's rewind back. This interview is going to be in two halves, Ian. We're going to do some of the more basic stuff for maybe newbie astronomers, which is what the SPA is all about, astronomy for all levels. So if you've just got a telescope or you're wondering how best to photograph the heavens, Ian is going to give you a little talk now on how to do it. So Ian, first of all, you've got a lot of telescopes, haven't you?
Well, it's not nearly as many as you said.
No, that's not what you told me earlier.
Because I've been collecting them for I don't know how many years. I had a 10-inch Newtonian when I was about 29, and I hate to think how long ago that was. But anyway, I do enjoy using them, and I write about them. I have a blog called the Astronomy Digest that can be useful to people, and I've written a few books as well. In fact, since I retired, a colleague said perhaps I was now a professional amateur astronomer, because I love amateur astronomy. Of course, I was a past president of the SPA, and I was on its council for about 17 years, I think. Anyway, what can you do? Well, first of all, to do some photography, if you've got a DSLR and a tripod, all you have to do is to go out one clear night and point it up to the pole star, and then take lots of 30-second exposures. And that will show little arcs of the stars as they trail. And then there's some wonderful free software called Star Stacks. You put all your pictures into Star Stacks, and it adds them all together to give you some lovely pictures of star trailing around the sky. Do it for about an hour, works brilliantly well. And the other thing you can do, again with just a camera and a tripod, with a wide angle lens, or the widest part of your little zoom lens, look up at a nice constellation like Orion, for example, and take lots of 30-second exposures again, perhaps a little bit less than that, and then you can combine them together in a free program called Deep Sky Stacker. And there's lots of articles about how to do that on the web. There are YouTube videos, and even on my Astronomy Digest. So those are the first two things to do. And if you want to think about buying a telescope as a newcomer, I think a nice thing to do would be to buy a 6 or 8 inch Dobsonian. These are very simple telescopes. You push them to the right, you push them up and down. They give you a lot of seeing for the money. You can see quite faint objects with them. And in a way, they're good because it will make you learn the sky. You'll begin to learn where all the objects are in the sky and the constellations. And if you start off with one of these computerized scopes, you can just key in something and it finds them for you. And I think that's a bit dull. It's much better to first have a go with something you have to point yourself. So a 6 or 8 inch Dobsonian. Further on in life, if you get quite keen, probably you want to have at least 2 scopes, something like an 80mm refractor for lovely wide field views of, say, Andromeda Galaxy and the Pleiades cluster, for example. And then maybe something like an 8 inch Schmidt Cassegrain, very good for the planets, looking at globular clusters, planetary nebula, and distant galaxies. So those 2 telescopes, you know, if you're a little bit advanced, will get you going for a very long time. So that's a couple of things you could do as a beginner. And obviously use Stellarium to find out what there is in the sky. That's a good thing too.
Look what I've got down here now. I don't know whether I can show it. Well, it might not show up very well. There is down on the floor there waiting to get assembled. My new 8 inch Dobsonian.
Oh, you're doing the right thing, Vicky. Well done.
We'll see. It has been in 2 halves. I mean, how many halves do you get? It has been in pieces for the past couple of weeks. It's waiting to be mounted yet. Any advice about getting it up on the base? How do you move it outside?
It shouldn't be too difficult. Anyway, I'll discuss with you on another time, but that's a lovely telescope to have. Let me just say, when Mars was closest to the Earth, I think for 60,000 years in 2003, we had a big star party at Jodrell Bank. And there were lots of telescopes there, including mine. And I'll tell you, the best image that we saw was through a young lady member's 8 inch Dobsonian that she just got. It cost her about £250. One reason why it was so good is that in front of our Discovery Centre, as it's called now, was a big concrete patio. And everybody put their telescopes on there, except she and myself. I think we both arrived late. And of course, it was in August. What does concrete do in the daytime? It warms up. So at night time, they were all there in turbulent air, and she and I were not. So that's why hers was the best. But it just shows you, you do not have to spend a lot of money to see wonderful images of the universe.
Whoa, okay. Well, I mean, like, one of the things about this telescope is I don't think it's got wheels on it. How do you get them outside?
Well, you lift the bottom bit first, and
Right.
then you take the top bit and you put them together outside. Not too difficult. Neither is too hard. Don't try and lift the whole lot together.
I'm really glad you just told me that, Ian. And obviously some manual handling techniques and back stretches might be necessary before we move that.
Very good.
So what's your favourite telescope then, Ian, out of the several dozen that you have?
No, it's not several dozen. It's probably a 127mm refractor. Refractors give you lovely images if they're what are called apochromats or achrom. They're basically use 2 or 3 lenses to try and eliminate chromatic aberration, which very simple telescopes do. And that one gives me exquisite views of things like globular clusters, the Pleiades, and even planets. In fact, if I had to put a thing called a Barlow lens, which basically doubles the magnification to see the planets well. But that's a lovely telescope, and it's the most expensive one I've ever bought. I've only ever bought 2 new telescopes, and that's one of them. So that's my favorite.
So a couple of weeks ago, we had Martin and Liz on from Mac Astro. That is how we know each other, because we kind of, our Venn diagrams of astronomy groups occasionally intersect at Mac Astro. Have you been to many events? Have you been to the Anglesey event that they have yet?
Oh, yes, many of them. And in fact, I was able to go to the one we had, I think it was early September, which was wonderful, a 5-day trip. I couldn't go to the last one simply because I was helping to run a dark sky week in St. Martin's in the Isles of Scilly, where I helped them set up an observatory a couple of years ago. And I've been out there giving lectures to people there, I think about 3 or 4 times now. And I was there for well over a week, actually, in October. So I couldn't go on the last one, but I hope to go on many in the future as well. I do love those events. And I know we've seen you there quite often.
Maybe gosh, it's coming up for 2 years since I gave you a hug in your Berghaus fleece, Ian.
Was it really? Oh dear.
Have you still got your fleece?
Yes, I have. Yes, no, they're lovely weekends. They really are. I thoroughly enjoy them.
Lovely, lovely. Now we're getting a couple of questions here. Let me just hi Ian. Well, hang on a minute. What's the best? Andy says, what's the best thing happening now in astronomy that you could only dream about in the 60s? What a great question. Keep the questions coming.
I think it must be the fact that we've now able to detect gravitational waves. And I think they've now detected 90 coalescences, either of 2 black holes or 2 neutron stars. And in fact, it's when that happens, we think most of the heavy elements. So if you've got any gold or silver or anything on you, they were probably made when 2 neutron stars collided, or even a black hole and a neutron star. And I think that's opened up a whole new world of astronomy. That's one thing. The other thing I think is fantastic, when what was called the New Horizons telescope, which is a VLBI network from the South Pole up to the northern hemisphere, using telescopes at very high altitude to observe at very short wavelengths, was able to image the shadow of a black hole. So I think black hole astronomy has just come on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years. It's wonderful.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. Ken says, thanks for that information, Ian. Stacking the images sounds very interesting. How can we get this information to Ken?
Right, all you have to do, just remember the 2 words Astronomy Digest, all right? Astronomy Digest, and that will take you to my website, which is www.ianmorrison.com with 1 R. And there are loads and loads of articles about how to do exactly that. So that will get you there. Or you could buy my book. That's another matter.
Oh, that's nice. You could plug your book. What's your book, Ian?
It's called The Art of Astrophotography. And that can be got from Amazon or Blackwell's or somebody. But don't worry, nearly everything you need is for free in the Astronomy Digest.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And Michael says, excellent advice. The 8-inch SCT. What's an SCT?
Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. That was the one I was trying to refer to, yes.
It's a brilliant instrument. The 10-inch Dob has hardly been out this year. The 90mm refractor is often used too. So Michael sounds like a collector of telescopes as well.
Well, he is too. I've got a lovely 90mm refractor, which is great. I used it to image Andromeda the last time I was out on a clear night a week or so ago. And the 10-inch Dobsonian, I've got one of those. That was my very first telescope. It was on a mount, but I made it into a Dobsonian. So he's got some excellent scopes. I'm very impressed.
Ian, now I'm aware that we are getting some fantastic new faces on the show, and it can be tempting sometimes to just overlook the basics. So when we look out into the night sky, every single star that we can see is within the Milky Way. How have they measured the Milky Way, and how many stars do they reckon are in it at the minute? Because that number varies so greatly.
It does. I would say 100,000 million, but the size also seems to be changing very quickly. How's it done? The first thing is you can measure the distances of nearby stars using what's called parallax. If you observe a nearby star against the background of stars, let's say in April, and you do it again 6 months later, probably September, October, then you'll see it have moved against the background of the stars. You measure how much it's moved by an angle. You know that your baseline has 2 AU, it's gone from one side of the sun to the other. Simple trigonometry gets you the distance. So that's the first way. You could measure the distances of many stars nearby that way. Then, in fact, you can extend that by knowing that stars have signatures. Our own sun is a G2 star, has a particular type of spectrum. If you saw another star with the same spectrum, 10,000 times fainter, you'd know it would be 100 times further away. And then beyond that, there are things called globular clusters, which are very old, and they contain some very bright stars called Cepheid variables. Henrietta Leavitt, a wonderful lady astronomer at the Harvard Observatory, managed to produce what might now be called Leavitt's law. That's the name they're hoping to give it, which relates the brightness to what's called the period. They're like slow clocks. And that was how, in fact, Edwin Hubble was able to measure the distance to Andromeda. But before that, it was possible to use these to measure the size of our Milky Way, to show, in fact, that we are about 27,000 light years away from the center. And so we're sort of well towards the outside. And that's how we know the sizes. So it's basically been done step by step. It's called the cosmic distance ladder scale. And that takes the 3 steps, the first 3 steps, to actually get the size of our Milky Way galaxy. There's a big bulge in the middle, about 3,000 light years across, and then this flat disk, which is why when we look up at the sky, we see the lovely Milky Way arcing across the sky. That's looking at the flat disk from one side. And incidentally, from structure, even with a little telescope at Jodrell Bank, we can show that there must not just be one big blob, and there are some galaxies which are big blobs, but there are at least 4 separate parts of the Milky Way. We call them spiral arms. So even with our own little telescope, a 7-meter telescope, we can sort of map out the Milky Way a bit. And now there are wonderful images of what the Milky Way would look like if you could go way out into space and look back down on it. There's a bar in the middle. We're about 2/3 of the way out. It's what's called the Orion Spur. So it's a beautiful thing. Just look for Milky Way images on Google and you'll find these pictures.
Ooh, one of the best ways I heard it put recently was like trying to figure out what the Milky Way looks like is trying to figure out what Manhattan looks like, but when you're living when you're slap bang in the center of it.
Yes, that's the problem. That's the problem. We're in it. So you had to have clever ways to do it. And it was Shapley that was able to show that the globular clusters had a spherical distribution. He assumed that the center of that rightly was the center of the galaxy and where we were related to it. So that's down him in about 1920 something, 21, I think it was, he did that. So that's when we knew the scale size of our lovely Milky Way galaxy. It's quite a big one. The Andromeda galaxy, M31, probably about twice as big. People argue about that. M33 in Triangulum is number 3 in our so-called local group. Andromeda's 1, we're number 2. That's number 3. And the Large Magellanic Cloud, which you see in the Southern Hemisphere, is number 4. It's a nice little group of galaxies. It's called the local group. And we're right on the outskirts of what's called the Virgo supercluster. If you look towards the backside of Leo the Lion, we have the realm of the galaxies. And that's where you're looking towards the heart of the Virgo cluster. And it's the brightest one of those, M87, where they're able to image the black hole I mentioned earlier.
Wow, the big stuff is really what makes my heart pound and face melt, Ian.
Very good.
Very good. Okay, we have we'll take one more question. Jim says, a supernova not strong enough to create the wavy waves.
Well, they will create a gravitational wave. Everything does. Even if you and I were in a room walking around each other, we'd create gravitational waves, I promise you. But they'd be so weak you couldn't possibly detect them. And in fact, supernova explosions aren't really strong enough to do it. And you've really got to have the coalescence of 2 objects, so they're going one around the other. That's the important thing. That's what generates nice gravitational waves. They ripple out through space at the speed of light, and we know that because the gamma ray radiation that left one of these coalescences arrived precisely when it should have done. So we know they travel at the speed of light. And the great thing is they actually could even possibly look beyond. It's called the cosmic microwave background. It's as far back as we can see, which is about 13.6 billion years old. And there's a point we can't see beyond, but gravitational waves might get you back towards the Big Bang. You never know.
Look at my eyebrows. They're right up. That's amazing, Ian. I would like to speak to you more about that another time. Right. Okay. We're going to take a little Cosmo break. Then we're going to come back to Ian and talk about dark matter. And then Sonia is on. I'll catch you in a couple of minutes, Ian.
Fine.
Yeah, see you in a sec. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of questions to get through tonight. Otherwise, I would ask Ian about gravitational waves going beyond the CMB. That is amazing. Right. What comes next? I've just had my brain blown out. So, I know. Guess what's happening? We're doing the show in a slightly different order tonight. That's why I'm all of a jumble. He's been flying around the solar system, or maybe a bit further. But to the casual observer, he's a mithering, pestering sloth. Where have you been to this week, Cosmo? Cosmo, where have you been? 3 clues. Only answer after the clues. Cosmo over and out. It's everybody's favourite sloth. It's everybody's favourite sloth. You've had enough of my singing tonight. So, Cosmo, mustn't hug him too close. He gets contouring makeup on his grubby little face. Okay, if you are new to the world of Cosmo, he is our sloth. And the sloth goes around the solar system and the galaxy and the universe, hanging out and checking out some of the most incredible intergalactic features. I'm going to read out 3 clues, and it's a brain teaser. So try to wait until the end. I'll tell you what, if you can answer this before the end of the clues, I'll be amazed. But please don't. It's a brain teaser, and we like to get people's brain cells into gear. Hello, Cosmo. I know you've got your little fan club. I must not get this lipstick on him. This stuff stains forever. One kiss on Cosmo's face, and he would be marked with lipstick for the rest of his grubby little days. So we won't kiss him, will we, Cosmo? Okay, 3 clues. God, Cosmo, these are hard ones tonight. I mean, you'd never guess that you just cut and pasted straight off Wikipedia in no particular order, would you? Okay. Cosmo, where have you been? He's been to catalogue number IC 4703. There's your first clue. Catalogue number IC 4703. Now, the clues get a little bit easier from here on in. This region of active current star formation is about 5,700 light years distant. And a spire of gas that can be seen coming off the nebula in the northeastern part is approximately, here's your clue. So there's a spire of gas coming off the nebula, and it's approximately 9.5 light years, or about 90 trillion kilometers long. And best of all, there are Bok globules, a brand new word. So where could he be? IC 4703 is the catalogue number. It's about 5,700 light years away. A spire of gas that can be seen coming off the nebula in the northeastern part is approximately 9.5 light years long. And there are Bok globules. Did you enjoy your Bok globules, Cosmo? Yeah, Bok globules. Where could he have been? Has anybody commented yet? Oh, they're getting it right. I love the popular astronomers. They're so clever. I'm just going to take a sip of water while we enjoy you getting the answers right. God, you're clever boys and girls. Look at all these correct answers flooding in. You've done really well with that one, everybody. I didn't even know what a Bok globule was, and I'm surprised because I am a collector of amusing words. Okay, you've all got it right. Catherine says, Eagle Nebula, Cosmo, is that where you had been? Yeah. Did the eagle try to carry you off in its claws? He had a very lucky escape. Well done, Ian. North American Nebula, Pillars of Creation. Adrian, Eagle Nebula. Eagle Nebula. The North American Nebula. I guess it now, correct me now. I might have to, Ian, I'm just going to get you back on. Is that all right? I need help. 3, 2, 1.
No, it's not
Hi,
the
Ian.
North American Nebula. It is the Eagle Nebula.
It is the Pillars of Creation, though.
That's right, which is the wonderful Hubble image that people have seen. And it really does look a little bit like an eagle. There are claws, there are talons on his claws, holding the fish. He's holding a fish.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
it's not the North American Nebula Pillars of Creation. It's the Eagle Nebula Pillars of Creation.
Exactly. Yes. The North American Nebula is a wonderful thing, and that's near Deneb in Cygnus. And it is a lovely region of star formation, but it's not that.
I should have had faith in myself, Ian. I've been doing astronomy since I was 16. I should have faith in my own knowledge there rather than having to get some help.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. And Bok globules, there's a great new word I've learned today. What are they, Ian?
They're basically star formation regions, little dark concentrations of matter, which is why they look a bit black. And in fact, a lot of research on those has been done by people in our astronomy department at Manchester, actually. I think they may have even discovered them many, many years ago. So you can see them in the Orion Nebula as well. It's basically little lumps of dust and gas that have contracted down and are going to form stars. So they're very important.
I like the name Bok globules. Don't you, Cosmo? Thank you very much to everybody who participated. Well done, everybody, even those who slightly got the wrong answer there. You're only a couple of million light years away out. So, Ian, when we were chatting yesterday and preparing for the show, just right at the end, I just go, oh, what? You're probably the most advanced astronomer that I know. Please give me the latest theories on dark matter. And you just said we still don't really know much. So what's happening in that realm, Ian?
Well, I think as Patrick Moore said, we really just don't know. So you said it. The trouble is, I've been saying for about 20 years, within 10 years, we'll know what dark matter is. And every time 10 years comes up, it's another 10 years. There are quite a number of possible candidates. And there's some other things called axions, which might have been formed in the Big Bang. They have an interesting property that they can interact with photons. So basically, if you put photons in a very strong magnetic field, you might get some axions. So they basically beam photons through a field to a brick wall. On the other side, they have another big magnetic field, hoping they'll convert back into photons, but so far they haven't been discovered. And then there are things called WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles. A neutralino is one of those that could be there. And there are experiments way down in deep mines to avoid all the cosmic rays and everything. And they have big tanks of xenon. And the hope is that one of these things will interact with the xenon and you'll actually get a little flash of light, which you can detect. So far, none of these have actually discovered anything, sadly. There was a bit of hope last year that there was a possibility that we know we have 3 types of neutrinos, muon, tau, and electron neutrinos, and they can actually have a little bit of mass, and they can actually change. The sun only produces electron neutrinos, and when they tried to find them on Earth, there were only a third of those that they thought should be there. We now know that what can happen is on the way from the sun, they can actually change. They oscillate between the 3 flavors, the muon and the tau, so that we only get a third of them. They think, or they thought, there was another type of much heavier neutrino which didn't interact, called the sterile neutrino. And the Fermilab in America thought they may have had some indications of it. But sadly, only last week, I think it was the 27th of October, they published the results of their big new experiment, and no, they haven't found it. So the answer is, we honestly don't know. I mean, there is some dark matter we know about, black holes, brown dwarfs, dust and gas, but that can't really produce nearly enough matter to actually explain what happens. Just 2 things about how it was discovered. Fritz Zwicky in the 30s realized that measuring the speeds of the galaxies in a cluster, the Coma cluster, they would actually fly apart unless there was enough matter to sort of constrain them. And then a wonderful lady called Vera Rubin measured the speed at which, in fact, it was H2 regions, things like Orion, that go around M33, and then they've now done it for our own galaxy as well. Now, you might expect that objects further away from the center of the galaxy, which is where most of the mass is, would go round more slowly, just in the same way that planets further out from the sun go round more slowly. But in fact, they don't. If anything, they go round slightly faster. And you can only explain that if, in fact, the galaxy, ours and Andromeda and others, are in fact engulfed in a sphere of dark matter much larger than the galaxy, which actually helps make it happen. And another thing to say was, if there hadn't been dark matter at the Big Bang, then in fact we couldn't be here, because galaxies couldn't have formed till about now. And of course, they formed a long time ago. That's a very quick try to explanation. But we just do not know. And I hope someday we'll find out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hope that would be quite amazing. But do you know, sometimes I wonder whether these kind of mysteries of the universe just will ever be unraveled, or whether they are just built in for us to continually keep on questing.
I think our brains may not be up to it. I think that's absolutely true. And I would just say, I love to say this, I think that the people in the Greeks and the Romans and around, you know, they were just as good as any of us. And I don't claim to be at all bright, but they were really very good. And with the instruments they had, they did amazing things. So, you know, we just have better tools to play with. That's all we can say.
Just before we go then, you know, I'm a huge fan of Jodrell Bank. What's it like working there? What's like a day in the life of a radio astronomer?
Well, it used to be that we might go in and help build the equipment we were going to use, you know, and then use it for our PhD and sort of work on the results. Now, I'm afraid, because the time it takes to do a PhD is limited to most 3 years. We used to take something like 4 or 5 years when I did it in the 60s. They more or less have to be given the data from an instrument like eMERLIN. They're given that data and they use computers. So basically, when you go there, you're essentially sitting in front of workstations, you know, analyzing the data that you've got. Essentially, all the data is produced by the engineers and sort of the scientists who actually produce the data. We have obviously people that make Merlin work, a team of them, and they provide the data and they do some of the provisional analysis as well. And so things are, I won't say a bit easier for our students, but they have to be, so they can complete the work in 3 years. But the main thing, of course, is at coffee time and tea time, we can get together in our coffee lounge and have chats about what's happening. And that's what makes it really quite fun. And quite nicely at lunchtime, a little van comes around with some nice goodies for us to have for lunch. So it's a very sociable thing. So although we sit in front of computers quite a bit, and in fact, over the last year or so, I've been doing all my work on my computers at home for Jodrell, as it happens. But hopefully now we're beginning to get back into Jodrell, and that's nice. So it'd be good. You know, we're now beginning to see each other again in the flesh. One slightly sad thing is, in the past, all the lecturers, professors and the like, we all had our offices at Jodrell Bank. But they decided to move us all into Manchester, into what's called the Turing building. So the contact we had then wasn't nearly as much with the actual observatory as it was before, when, you know, I used to go out to Jodrell every day, except about 2 days a week in term time to go up and teach, maybe 2.5 days. Now, of course, we spent most of the time until I retired in Manchester, and only occasionally went out to Jodrell, which I think is a real pity. And I did work with Sir Bernard Lovell. Yes, I did, in fact. The best thing I ever did at Jodrell Bank, I think, was to keep his quad valve hi-fi system running, because he was a wonderful, he loved music, and I really enjoyed keeping his equipment going and changing valves and all sorts of clever things like that. So yes, he was a great man, and I got on very well with him. When we were students, before he retired, I was Morrison. We were all spoken to as our with our surnames, but as soon as he retired, I became Ian, as all did all the other lecturers and people. So he was a wonderful man. They don't make them like that anymore.
Oh, all right. Salute there to Sir Bernard. Now then, if you are a member of the SPA, you get special access to to Morrison, as it were. You're doing something for us this weekend, aren't you, Ian?
Yes. Every year, I think since about 1999 or something, I've been helping to run the SPA's Preston Montfort weekend, when we get about 30, 40 people together. And we hope to do some observing. We normally can. We saw a wonderful Aurora many years ago there. It was fantastic. And we give them talks. Now, obviously, last year we didn't do anything because of COVID. And this year it was thought it was a bit too soon to try and do something live. So we're having a virtual Preston Montfort weekend, which I think any member of the Prop Astro can join in. And Robin Scadgel, who you know is the vice president, myself, and I think Pete Lawrence, Martin Lewis, I'm sorry, we're all going to give talks about how to observe and image the planets. So you might find that quite enjoying. I'm giving two talks, one about telescopes and one about cameras. But then we're talking about how to observe, and Martin Lewis is going to tell you how, once you've taken some images, videos in fact, of the planets, you can make wonderful pictures, as he can do. So it should be fun. Anyone can join in. We're on from maybe 9:30 through to 5 o'clock, on and off, and just pop in and do enjoy it. I hope you will.
Ooh. With the you've got to be an SPA member first. So if you aren't, then please do join us. If you're a lapsed member, please join us. And if you remember already, join us twice, and you get twice the magazines, and twice the Ian Morrison, and twice the Vicky and Cosmo. What could be better? Ian, it has been a galaxy of delights to have you on. Thank you so much. It's really great to catch up with some of the latest astronomy news and to help out with beginners information.
Well, it's been a pleasure being with you, Vicky, and hopefully someday we'll see you again at Ligui.
Oh, that'd be lovely in Anglesey. Bring it on. I can't wait for mine, because you do give good cuddles, don't you, Ian?
I'm a bit too big for that, yes. A bit like a bear.
Okay, I'll just give Cosmo a cuddle, and you can experience that by proxy.
Thank you very much. That's very nice.
Thank you, Ian.
Bye, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed that, and enjoy the rest of the evening. And basically, best of luck with your observations and imaging. Bye.
Yes, wonderful. Bye. Bye. That was good, wasn't it? Thank you. Oh, there we go. Look, thank you. Very interesting. Look forward to see you soon. Thank you, Ian. Great talk. Yeah, he is astronomical royalty. Now I've got to ravel in. No, I was going to say I've got to bring in the red carpet, but no, I must keep the red carpet out, because here's Sonia.
Hi.
Oh, I've missed you so much. How are you, Sunshine Sonia?
Oh, I've been so busy. We literally, on Saturday, we went to see this guy.
I can't see who that is. Freddie Mercury.
We went to see Tim Peake.
Oh, God, I can't see. So, oh, yeah. It looks a bit like Freddie Mercury just from the side angle there. What was Tim up to, other than being really trim?
So he was doing a tour the UK at the moment of his life story of how he started, what inspired him to be an astronaut, to being an astronaut, his life being an astronaut, and then he finished on his final touchdown as well. So it's really good. Go and see him. £10 for signed official tour guide as well. And he signs them before all of the tours.
That's
absolutely
really,
amazing.
Really good.
Questions, answers, photos. The videos are really good as well. Shows on stage. It's absolutely amazing. And it's one of the funny things is how he actually became to get the funding as well, because he said before he goes to be because he drove he flown helicopters and stuff before he became an astronaut. So before he went into the army, sort of, they said, "Oh, get some life experience first." And then they'll take him. So he was actually had a 3-month expedition to Alaska or Iceland, or it's somewhere cold. I can't remember where. But he had to get it funded, and he actually got it funded by a chap who went into the pub and said, "I've had a tip off on a bet." So his funding of how he became to do what he does was actually a win on a bet that he got the money for, which he said it was quite amusing of when he actually got into the army, then of how he actually got the money to be funded.
That's an amazing story, actually, and not something you wouldn't expect to be involved in such a story.
It's really good. It's where he met his wife as well in the army. In the background of his wife, that was really good. It was just amazing, and what they do in space, his spacewalk, what he did, the sort of experiments they do. And yes, he did the explanation of how you go to the toilet in space. Just literally a tube and that's it.
And that is it. There's no mystery.
That's
No
it.
magic.
No, literally nothing at all. Yeah, so it's really a very structured day of how they do the timeline. And then the weekends they have cleaning. So we had a vacuum flying around in space. They have to clean the International Space Station. It's really, and if it's not been to your city now at the moment, I definitely recommend going to see him. I don't know where he's touring next, to be honest. Is it his book? No, it's not in his book. But yeah, definitely recommend going to see Tim Peake on tour in the moment.
So I live, for just bizarre circumstances beyond my control, I live in a holiday lodge, and it's about, do you know the size of a classic holiday caravan, which I've also lived in? You know a holiday caravan, yeah? They're like a tube, aren't they? They're like a box tube. Now, when I went to the Leicester Space Museum, they have got like a section of the International Space Station, and it's pretty much... It's the same dimensions as a holiday caravan, but with no soft furnishings. And one rainy afternoon in a caravan is enough for me to be climbing the walls. We all know that those things lead to cabin fever, but imagine just being in one of them with the dangers of space outside and a billion switches inside. That your metal.
He's touring this year up to 11th of December, but he is touring it again next March. So he is going to be like Liverpool, back at the Lowry in Salford where we went, Blackpool, Harrogate. So he is doing another tour next year, and he's going to be May as well at the London Royal Albert Hall. So it's definitely a recommendation to go and see him. It's absolutely brilliant. He's a really good speaker as well. He doesn't sing or dance, but he's really good at lecturing of how it all became out. Definitely, yeah. Really good.
I'm sure he hasn't got a sloth, has he?
No, he's not got a sloth. No.
He needs a gimmick. He needs a gimmick. I'll sort him out. I'll do his publicity for him. So, Sonia, the weather. Well, we've had Aurora. Shall we talk about the Aurora first? Because I know there's been some beautiful.
They even saw it in. Saw some pictures, even faintly in as far as Devon. They've had it.
Oh, beautiful.
But even the photos that I've seen in Scotland have been absolutely amazing. And North Yorkshire, down in Norfolk Broads, they've literally had it everywhere. That's non-light pollution, really.
Yeah, light pollution is something that I think is only known about by stargazers and astronomers, and I really just think it needs to be made so much more in the public awareness. And I've started to tweet about it a lot more and mention it on my Facebook a lot more, because people just don't know that their massive security lights just trounce the heavens.
Oh no, they really do. I've got no chance of seeing it here because of the street lights, and then the security lights around here, and it's just like impossible. That's for me. And I couldn't really be bothered traveling when you've done like so much work. And then working from home.
How's your new job, Sonia?
Well, I passed my probation on Friday.
Well done.
So yes, I'm full-time part of the AX family.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm so glad to hear that. Right, shall we? Now, I've had a brief look on my weather app. It's not particularly much happening, but what's going on, Sonia, with the weather? Shall we be getting our scopes out?
We're still going to keep with the mild weather at the moment, right through until end of next week as far as it goes. It's looking dry apart from Thursday night into Friday, but we don't know how far that's going to go. A little low pressure system with high winds at the moment that's coming into Thursday into Friday. So if we take a look tomorrow's not looking too bad. From probably northern England upwards, it's going to be clear. Then Midlands south, it's going to be cloudy, a bit of rain in the southwest. Scotland, it's like in between. So southern again, going to be cloudy. Northern's going to be clear, and then northern Scotland's going to be, it looks like it's going to be rain on the hills, but it's largely clear. Thursday, as I say, it's hit and miss at the moment of how far this weather system's going to get towards us. But if we look to Thursday night, around 9 o'clock, it does look like it's going to be clear, most of the Midlands through to the southern areas, but the rest of it is going to then be hit by the low pressure area. But then by midnight, it does start to move move eastwards, and then it clears through the weekend. It does look, it's one of those where it's going to be clear and nice throughout the day, but then by the time we get to the night time, it is going to be cloudy. That's the most of the picture all the way throughout the week. It's going to be mild but cloudy. The jet stream is to the north of us at the moment, is over us for the next few days, but then it keeps north. It looks like it's going to be north all the way through until next week, but it is a bit more cloud than we would like at the moment, but it's going to be largely dry and mild still.
Oh, okay, yes. So is there going to be any night at all where it's worth us getting our telescopes out?
If I'm being honest, looking at it at the moment, no, because you may get that clear spell, but then it looks like you'll get that cloud come over probably as soon as you set out. So I'd probably say, especially southern England, what day was it? Let me have a look. Thursday around 9 o'clock, but then by midnight it's going to be a bit wet. Maybe the southeast you're looking a bit later until that low pressure system comes in.
Sonia, I forgot to play your song. I'm going to play it right now. Will it be cloudy? Will it be sunshine? Will it be hurricanes? Sonia's been checking out the jet stream and the humidity. Is it safe to get my telescope out, or will it blow over and bend? Well, Sonia's here with all the answers, my starry-eyed astronomer friend. It's still a banger. It's still a banger. So basically, it's not great weather for telescopes over the next couple of weeks, which I think is a great reason to join the SPA and get immersed in some of our online stuff and get the magazine and get clued up on your astronomy theory, or maybe dismantle your telescope and put it all back together again.
I don't fancy doing that with a Dobsonian.
What about Sonia, what advice have you got for me with this thing? I've got an 8-inch Dob and it's big and I'm scared.
Just go for it.
It's just go for it. Like, how do you get it? Do you get Pete to help you move yours outside, or do you move it on your own?
Yeah, so we literally have a handle either side. So we literally have Pete on one side and me on the other side, and we lift it up very carefully and move it outside. I don't ever pull it anymore because I made such a mess with the decking and we had to repaint the decking this year. So I have to carry it everywhere we're going now, and I'm not allowed to drag it along, so it takes some marks with me.
Oh, hey, guess what I saw today? I saw Solar Sphere advertised.
Oh, I know. I'm umming and ahhing because I've got a hen do next year. That's going to be over £100 possibly, and then we've got a wedding that we just booked the hotel for 2 nights, which is going to be a couple of £100. I don't think I'll be making it to Solar Sphere next year.
Do you know, actually, though, it's incredibly affordable. It's well, I mean, I can't. I mean, the tickets whenever I've been were under £50. It's actually a really affordable couple of days. In fact, you probably spend less at Solar Sphere than you would if you just stayed at home. Oh, we'll do a car share, Sonia. We'll do a car share.
I have no tent stuff, and then on top of the tickets, there's the hotel as well. So, and it's right in between because we've got the hen do in July, and then we've got the wedding in September. So it's right in between it.
Oh, honestly, Sonia, it's been so lovely seeing you. You have to come back on again soon when your incredibly hectic social diary is closed.
I know. So I'm on early's next Tuesday. So hopefully I should be on next Tuesday. We are planning on a outing at work, and because we work from home Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and office Tuesday and Thursday. So we're trying to organise a social event one day after when we finish work on Tuesday or Thursday. Hopefully not this Thursday because I'm going to see Steps at the Manchester Arena. I'm so excited.
Wow, that's you've got a wonderful social life. I'm out on Anglesey and I have a pub quiz once a week, and that is it for now. I need to remedy that, being the quadruple extroverted social butterfly that I am.
We're hoping to the Manchester markets as well on Sunday, so I can't wait. I love the Manchester Christmas markets.
They are beautiful. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Sonia, it's been a delight, and I'll catch you very soon. And Cosmo,
yes, we'll do.
All his love.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, she's like a little breath of fresh air. Sunshine Sonia is. Popular astronomers, it's nearly time to go. Oh, I didn't have my beer. I didn't have my alcohol-free beer. I like to drink that while I'm chatting. I think, to be honest, though, all that honey and water before I did the show knocked me a bit queasy. Let's have a look at the comments. As Ian said, take it to pieces unless you build an observatory or store it outside. Too much movement, though, might mean constant collimation. The C word, collimation. I've got to learn how to do that. Don't know how to do that? You can all join me on my adventures of collimation and hoying a telescope outside. Yes, it was lovely to see Sonia again, wasn't it? Really, really lovely. Okay, everybody. Even if you shared this video once, we would love you to share it again. It has been a delight to have Ian Morrison on and Sonia as well. Thank you, everybody who has commented in the chat rooms. It's so nice to see you all. Just let me check. Just let me check my Twitter. No, just let me check my guest list next week. Have we got anyone lined up for next week? The 16th. I don't know whether I'm going to be doing the show next week because I'm back home in Cheshire and it is an absolute nightmare hoying all this stuff about. So I think I might ask Paul and Robin, please, sis, can I have the night off? Yeah, I think we might not do a show next week because it's really quite rubbish doing it in my mum's box room. Okay, everybody, it has been a delight to have you. Me and Cosmo are going now. Cosmo, you've got 2 weeks now to jet off somewhere fantastic. Where is he going to go? Shame you missed the beginning, running around the track on Tuesdays now. Well, what you have lost in Pop Astro, you have gained in fitness and hopefully lost in pounds. Running doesn't have shift the lard, I've discovered. Cosmo, shall we launch you? What are you going to do on a Tuesday night? Binge watch all the old episodes. There you go. Thanks, Jed, for being one of our supporters. We're going to launch Cosmo. I'm going to try and throw him through the ring light. Can you see the reflection in my spectacles? There's nothing I can do about that. It's just a part of the broadcasting annoying thing that you have ring light reflection in your glasses. So I'm going to launch Cosmo through the ring light. Of course, he's going to reach escape velocity and go off somewhere fantastic. So are you ready, Cosmo? He's gone. He's gone. Where will he go to? You will be able to guess next week. Bye, Peter. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Lovely to have you all along. Oh, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play the eMERLIN song again, just because it was so weird and obscure. And now, hopefully, some of the stuff that Ian has said has sunk in about how radio telescopy works. I'm just going to play that. Let's get rid of that. Hold on, I'm going to play the song. It's a mad piece of music, even by my standards, but I've tried to encapsulate everything about this network of radio telescopes that join together across England and occasionally hook up to go across the full surface of the planet. I love it.
Coming Earth, do you read us? Coming Earth, do you read us?
What do you see in the cosmos with your eMERLIN? A sensitive soul constructed to broad black holes, Merlin. You span across the nation, studying star formation.
eMERLIN provides a unique capability for microjansky sensitivity radio imaging, spectroscopy, polarization, and astrometry in exquisite resolution.
Resolution should provide solutions to questions that just get bigger. And to increase the power of your listening eye, you join forces with others via the LDI. eMERLIN, you are wizard.
Do you read us? Coming Earth, do you read us?
Star Factory Productions. Put the showbiz in your space biz. Okay, cheers, everybody. Good night. Page 42 in the magazine. Popular astronomy for the Preston Montford weekend. Don't ask me. I should have asked saying? What is a microjansky? I did have to Google the pronunciation of it. You might have to Google that. I am sorry. I don't know what a microjansky is. I wasn't sure it was a microjansky or a microyansky, but the online pronunciation guides all said microjansky. Shall we wake Ian Morrison up and ask him? I'll find out for you for next week. Catch you later, popular astronomers. Mwah!